Hello, welcome to The Wedding Secret, my channel about weddings. My name is Simone and I'm your wedding coach. I will tell you everything you need to know about weddings. Yeah, and today we will talk a little bit about transportation. I know it's not super glamorous and most probably you don't have a mood board about this subject. But for me as a wedding planner, it is very important because there's nothing worse as the guests are not arriving on time to the ceremony, or when they want to leave, there is no possibility they can leave because there are no taxis available, etc. So take it really in serious. It's a very important subject, and of course the situation is very different in different cities, in different towns. If you are somewhere really lost in space in a very remote area. So that's why I would like to give you some general information. First of all, the person who rents you the venue for sure has experience in this whole subject. That means talk about the event manager, or let's say the owner, how they handled the transportation in the past. Because I can talk from my experience here in Mallorca. We are an island and we have a lot of issues with transportation. That means that, for example, there are 3 parts what are very important to take into consideration. The first one is, how is the taxi situation, taxi or Uber situation? Because, for example, in Mallorca, you cannot pre-book taxis if you don't go to the airport. And we don't have Uber. That means in the high season, everything is fully booked. And if you're lucky, you get a taxi. But if you have not so good luck, then you're waiting there for an hour. That means taxis are not a reliable option for us here in Mallorca for weddings, especially for bigger groups. So analyze well the taxi situation, and also for your guests, how they can then drive back. If it's easy to call taxis, how long does it take that a taxi will arrive to the venue? And you have to think, if you have 100 or 150 guests, if the taxi takes 20 minutes to come and 20 minutes to leave, and there are not so many taxis available, you can count, this will be a big disaster. So taxis sometimes can work well in bigger cities where a lot of taxis available, but sometimes it cannot be the only solution. Second very important part is, especially if you're, for example, planning your wedding in your private finca, about the parking possibilities. Because, for example, if you're renting an event finca or an event venue, normally they should be prepared that there's enough parking space. But if you have planned to do something in your own finca, in your own venue, think also about where your guests can park and where the suppliers can park. Because if you have a catering and the photographer, the stylist, the planner, and sometimes you have 10, 20, I had events with more than 40 or 50 staff. That means parking availability, check it out. And then the third very important part is, if you cannot rely on taxis and you think your guests won't come with their own car because you have planned the destination weddings and they want to drink and they don't want to go with a car or rental car, then we have to work with buses. So this is something what is really a tricky subject, because very often, especially when you're planning a wedding or destination wedding, you don't know until a month before or sometimes 2 weeks before where your guests are staying. So to work out the whole transportation concept, sometimes it's a little bit like a nightmare, let's say it like this. But in terms of buses, you have to take care of actually 2 factors. First one, check with the venue which bus sizes can arrive to the venue and turn around and leave, because sometimes if you're in a small town, then perhaps the streets or the roads are too narrow. So check with the venue the bus sizes. And the other thing is, you have, from my point of view, to give your guests, if you're planning a destination wedding already, tell them from the beginning the pick-up points where you will have your coaches leaving and where they will be brought back after the event, because then your guests, they can actually book hotels in a walking distance around, and then you are on the safe side. Because if you have a lot of people spread around the venue, although it's not in a really big distance, but they have booked like a lot of different small hotels all around, then the whole transportation concept will be also much more complicated. So as I said, I know it's not a very glamorous subject, but it's very, very important. And every venue, every city has its own issues, but these are the three main points that you have really to analyze in order that you make your guests happy and you don't have headache on the day of your wedding when your guests want to leave and they are staying there and at the venue at 4 o'clock in the morning drunk and they cannot leave. Okay, so yeah, I hope I gave you some important information, and I would love you to subscribe to my channel so I can tell you a little bit more about other subjects. Bye bye.